Imagine strolling through your lush, vibrant garden, picking perfect lemons without ever bending over to spray a single drop of toxic, back-breaking chemicals again. That's not a fantasy. That's what happens when you understand how plants actually defend themselves. And make sure you stick around for secret number 3, because it completely defies everything you've been told about soil and fancy fertilizers. Here's the truth most gardeners don't realize. You're probably working way too hard, fighting bugs and diseases when your plants could be doing that job for you. The secret isn't more sprays or more work. It's understanding 3 simple things about how plants build their own defenses. Let me walk you through each one. Secret number 1 is what I call the protein lockdown trick. Here's the lazy action that changes everything. Stop overfeeding your plants with rapid-release nitrogen fertilizers. Instead, let them process their food at their own pace. Think of it like this. Imagine hiding the easy-to-eat sugar bowl and leaving out tough, raw carrots instead. Bugs have weak digestive systems, like baby teeth, and they simply starve when they can't find simple, easy-to-slurp sugars in your plant's sap. Here's what's actually happening inside your plant. Pests can only digest soluble nitrates that are already dissolved in the plant sap. They suck these nitrates out and use them to build their own bodies. But when your plant completes its protein synthesis within a 24-hour cycle, it converts all of that available nitrogen into amino acids and proteins. Once that nitrogen is locked up as plant protein, there's nothing left for the pests to feed on. They literally starve to death on a plant that looks perfectly healthy. So what does this mean for you? Skip the weekly liquid feeding routine. Seriously, doing less actually starves the pests right out of your garden. Those rapid-release fertilizers you've been using, they're basically setting out a buffet table for aphids and whiteflies. Switch to slow-release options or good compost and let your plants finish their work before bugs can crash the party. Let me know in the comments. Would you rather spend your Sunday morning spraying pesticides or just put the fertilizer down and let the plant protect itself? Now let's talk about secret number 2, the Candy Armor Shield. This one's all about something called Brix, which is just a fancy word for the complex sugars and carbohydrates inside your plant. Here's your lazy action. Focus on building up your plant's internal sweetness so it can build its own natural armor against diseases, rather than you having to constantly apply fungal sprays. Picture it this way. Instead of cooking up a thin, watery syrup that attracts every fly in the neighborhood, your plant cooks up a thick, hardened candy shell that bugs and diseases just can't bite through. The science behind this is straightforward. Plant health requires a rapid transition of the sugars it produces through photosynthesis into complex carbohydrates. A high proportion of these complex structured carbs and a low amount of simple sugars like sucrose help plants gain resistance to soil-borne fungal pathogens. Right now, most plants only perform about 20 to 25% of their potential photosynthesis. But when conditions are right, photosynthesis can increase up to 150 to 600 times more. That's when your plant becomes truly bulletproof. What this means for your garden is simple. Healthy soil with good minerals and organic matter helps your plants max out their sugar production and turn it into that protective armor. You're not babysitting them with sprays. They're defending themselves. Here's a bonus tip for the truly lazy gardener. You can grab a simple, cheap refractometer tool online for about $20 to $30. Squeeze a drop of plant sap onto it, and it instantly tells you your plant's Brix score. If it's above 12, your plant is tough enough to defend itself without your help. Below that, it might need a little soil support. But either way, you know exactly where you stand, without guessing. Have you ever tested your plant's sweetness with a Brix tool, or do you prefer the lazy route of just eyeballing the leaf color? Tell me below. Alright, here's secret number 3, and this is the one that flips everything on its head. I call it the cement and rebar mineral secret. Your lazy action is this. Ensure your plants have access to basic trace minerals, specifically calcium and boron, by applying them once a season and letting the rain do the heavy lifting. Think of calcium and boron as the cement and steel rebar of your garden. Without them, your plant's leaves are like a flimsy cardboard wall a bug can just flick down. With them, your plant is a steel bunker. Here's what's really going on. Calcium acts as your plant's construction engineer. Leaves contain high concentrations of calcium, which provide structural rigidity when combined with other organic compounds. Without enough calcium, cell walls stay weak and soft, making it easy for pests to pierce through and diseases to take hold. Boron works hand in hand with calcium. It assists in the metabolism of large biomolecules by helping them move through cell membranes. Soils rich in boron also help plants drive nitrogen levels close to zero, which ties right back to secret number 1. While commercial growers use plant sap analysis because it gives them a clearer picture than a Brix meter, you just need to make sure these basic elements are in your soil. So how do you do this without turning into a soil scientist? It's easier than you think. A simple application of gypsum or lime once a season gives you calcium. For boron, a light dusting of borax mixed into your compost or a foliar spray once or twice a year does the trick. Let the rain water it in. You're done. Here's your zero-effort bonus tip. Save your morning breakfast eggshells, crush them up roughly with your hands, and toss them directly under your citrus trees or around your tomatoes. Free calcium boost, zero effort, and you're recycling kitchen waste at the same time. Now let's bring this all together. When you stop overfeeding with fast nitrogen, when you build up your plant's internal sugar armor, and when you make sure calcium and boron are in the soil, your plants become fortresses. Bugs can't feed, diseases can't penetrate, and you're not out there every weekend with a spray bottle. The difference between you and your neighbor, who's still battling aphids every other day. You understand that a healthy plant doesn't need you to fight its battles. It fights them itself. You just set up the conditions once, and then you get to enjoy the harvest. So here's what I want you to do. Hit that subscribe button right now, so you don't miss next week's Lazy Gardener's Guide, where I'll show you exactly how to make a zero-effort compost tea that naturally feeds your plants calcium and boron while you sleep. Seriously, you mix it once, pour it on, and forget about it. And let me ask you this. What's the one pest or disease that's been driving you crazy in your garden? Drop it in the comments below, and I'll tell you which of these 3 secrets will solve it for you. Let's make your garden work for you, not the other way around.